Alright, let's see. Are we actually live? To your channel. Okay, there we go. Now we are fucking live.
Hey, we can hear you.
Copy that. Thank you. Sorry about that, guys.
Hey, no probs, man, no probs.
Alright, gonna get ready?
All right, going back in.
Okay. Y'all set?
Yep.
Okay, here we go. All right, welcome to the Best Talk series in Fallout 76, where we bring in guests from all over the wasteland so you don't have to. This is the best there is with your host, D-Man Caramel, the best there is. Hey, how's it going, everyone? Welcome to the best there is. I'm D-Man Caramel, the best there is. It's your number one show for all things to keep you surviving the wasteland. We got a great show coming up for you today, and today we have our special guest, Knight Sergeant Machina. Knight Sergeant Machina, welcome to the show.
Glad to be here. I heard some great things about your show.
Awesome. Thank you so much, as well as you should, because it is awesome. Now, can you, Knight Sergeant Machina, please tell us a little bit about yourself? You know, what is your role? What is it that you do for the VEF?
Well, I do a few things for this little group. I do something called I am something called a medical officer. So I handle the incoming hopefuls, doing all their medical exams, getting them all situated. I also do recon corps, where it's just a nice little bit of fun sneaking around.
And boy, do we love sneaking around here. It is my favorite thing to do with my significant other. Now, can you please tell us a little bit about like your backstory? Like, how did you get involved with the VEF? How did you get here? Like, what did that exactly look like for you?
Well, to be completely honest, I was wandering around the Savage Divide one time in a pirate's outfit, a plague mask, and a pirate's hat, similar to yours. Um, and I kind of just ran across this little military camp. Bunch of people just kind of running around on the rooftops, jumping around. Next thing I know, I got someone called General Streak coming up to me, and she asked what I'm doing, where I'm going, if I need anything, all that kind of thing. Being super nice, um, and I just let her know that I'm kind of just here trying to waste some time, get some things done. Got nothing better to do. Um, Next thing I know, she's telling me about this Brotherhood roleplay group called the Vanguard Expeditionary Force, and I'm like, okay, could be fun. Why not? So she gets me in as a hopeful, and I end up working my way up to a Knight Sergeant pretty well. These guys are really good. Yeah, I am one of the only British people in this group. It's very strange being surrounded by all Americans. Very patriotic.
And I think that's something that I'm pretty interested in figuring out because, you know, obviously the great thing about playing with video games online with people is that you get to talk to people from all different backgrounds, walks of life, experiences, right? So, what have been some of kind of like the biggest differences that you've seen culturally with people in America with your background from the UK?
Well, I've been speaking with a few guys in this group, and some of the events they get hold of, and some of these different celebrations are all kinds of things. Um, they do all this special stuff. That barbecues are like the best thing to have in America, supposedly.
That's true.
All of this smoked meat and all of these different rubs and spices and all of that. Oh my God, I'd still love to come and visit America at some point. I plan to, definitely.
Oh my God, you definitely have to. That's definitely something that we do. We do take pride in our meats, for sure. Now, I want to dive a little bit more into, you know, your background of the Recon Corps, and you know, give me a little example. Like, first, let's define what the Recon Corps is. Can you just kind of like give me a basic definition of what the Recon Corps is and what do they do?
Well, the Recon Corps is a reconnaissance group, specialised in mainly gathering intel from across the wasteland. We do also do some independent comprehensive location reports outside of patrols as well, where we kind of just scout around locations and seeing what's there, if there's any sort of best entrances, best exits, how many enemies, if there are any traps, anything that could help a passing patrol coming through. We also do things like what do you call it? High value targets. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
So sometimes if we have previously scouted the location and we have identified an enemy that constantly spawns and might be a higher threat to this incoming patrol, then we will likely get asked to take that out. Make sure that's out of the equation. So that's always fun.
That sounds like it would be. Now, typically, when I think of recon, the first thing that comes to my head is like ninjas, right? So, like, I think of like, did you guys start off as like ninjas that were just kind of like, going into places, taking people out individually, or like, what exactly is the history of the Recon Corps? How did you guys get started?
Well, originally it was this group called the Vindicators, which was a concept started by our now Paladin Nelson around May time last year. The idea was presented to our Elder Batman. It was very quickly approved. He was very happy with the little proposal that he just made. They started off pretty small, consisting of Nelson, our now Paladin Commander War, General Streak, and later on gathering members like Dead Space, McKellen Grotty, which I'm sure some of these members internally will know. And then part of the Vindicators was also using the Chinese stealth suits, which Nelson liked to call the repurposed Brotherhood stealth suits, just to keep that Brotherhood aspect in there, keep the communists out. And then we managed to establish that the stealth suits were part of the Vindicators as a special item for the squad only, so no one else could use them, no one else could be as sneaky as us, obviously. Not necessarily everyone had to have a sniper, but as long as they had the stealth perks and the silencers, they never really saw a problem with it. And as part of the reconnaissance group, they scouted out certain positions with high counts of enemies, just taking any of those out that may be a threat to an incoming patrol. One day, out of nowhere, actually, one of our paladins called Dead Space actually founded a group called the Night Owls, which became a very big confusion for the group, because both groups specialise in gathering that intel and taking out as many enemies as possible, the quietest way possible. So it had to be kind of discerned who was doing what, and it eventually got figured out that the Night Owls would gather all the intel, do all the reports, and the Vindicators would be the ones on the front lines, all sneaky.
Awesome. Now, can you tell me, typically, once again, when I think of recon, I think of like ninjas. You guys are like coming in, probably the first ones in, going in, accomplishing the task, and then just leaving before being caught, right? Can you give me a specific scenario? And I know, in the VEF, missions are very important. Patrols are very important. But can you give me a specific scenario of when recon would be called in to complete a task or mission?
Well, oftentimes the recon groups actually operate as an independent group within the patrol, so they might end up splitting off from the patrol at some point, obviously still under the patrol lead's command, but the patrol lead might have sent them out on a job to clear an area. They might have sent them out to scout and count whatever's there, so the patrol are aware of what they're actually going into. They may also ask the group to hold positions, find a nice little high up perch, hold that, and then operate as covering fire for the incoming patrol as they move through. So it's always fun doing that. And then sometimes they do still operate as part of the patrol, where they'll just kind of mix and match into the different groups and see what happens.
Awesome. And then, you guys typically also seem to be super organized, right? Is there like a type of uniform that you guys typically wear that's recon specific?
Well, I'm wearing it right now. This is shadowed combat armor. This is probably one of the better ways to discern us from the rest of the group. It is pitch black with a white star on the front rather than blue with the Brotherhood symbol on the front. Or we do use the before-mentioned Chinese stealth suits. We do perform a little side mission once you've become one of our full operatives, called the Right of the Shadows, which is just a little mini mission which you've got to prove to everyone that you can do everything without the stealth suit before you can gain that stealth suit advantage. So you're brought into a world with no perks, no armor, and a little pistol, and see if you can extract one of our personnel that's been trapped in there by some raiders, all stealth-like. Yeah, it's all fun. You'll know us when you see us pretty easily, or if you see us, that is.
I love that. That's pretty cool. So let's go ahead and move. Oh, actually, before we move on to the next subject, I want to talk a little bit about RP, role playing, right? Obviously, with any video game that you play that you incorporate with other groups of people, there's an element of role play RPing that happens. But I would love to know if you can give me like a specific example of an RP mission recon kind of went on.
Well, actually, there was this one that I organised myself along with the Paladin Nelson that I mentioned before, about a month ago, after learning pretty much an in-depth history with Nelson of the Recon Corps. I asked him if he'd appreciate if I did a little custom mission dedicated to our new Recon Corps, learning kind of what happened to their predecessors and how they worked out. Nelson gave me a very enthusiastic yes, so we pretty much instantly went ahead with it. With his help, I put together a mission called Into the Shadows, which was following a story that one of our recon scribes that had actually found a discrepancy in the old Vindicators archive, where there was a file that was missing vital parts of intel and collected by our General Streak, detailing a patrol that required forward fire support. Our task was to discuss the intel that we already had and find out where the indicators had visited in hopes of discovering these missing pieces. This eventually led us through multiple Vindicator checkpoints, which unfortunately I can't disclose on air, as it is confidential to Recon. But I can say by the end of our mission, we scouted and cleared out each location and found all of the missing intel, finally closing that report. I will very likely be running it again, just in case one of our scribes finds another discrepancy, so hopefully in the future we can get some of our apprentices learning that history as well.
Awesome. And I love that. I love that for you. So let's go ahead and get into our last segment, the Q&A section. So this is where we turn to you guys, our audience. We want to hear from you. What are some of the questions that you guys have for our guest here, Machina? Let's go ahead and turn to some of the questions we already have. First one we have is, what makes you want to stay part of the VEF?
Ooh, that's a good one. Well, when I first started here, these guys were all open, honest with me. They knew what was happening. They knew when it was happening. It was all organised. I loved it. Everyone knew everyone. Everyone was so friendly, and it stayed the exact same all throughout. I made it all up to a sergeant, and nothing's changed. It's been amazing.
I disconnected from the server.
Of course.
Holy crap. Okay, technical difficulties.
Oh my.
I don't know, am I still broadcasting? I am still broadcasting. Let's go. All right, let's go on to our next question. Fuck it, why not? We're live. Here we go. Technical difficulties happen all the time. We're still in it. All right, so next question is from Thorn. Thorn asks, who who your favorite paladin is and why?
Oh, well, I feel a bit biased on this one. Does it have to be just a paladin? I would say. Ooh, that's a good question, actually. I don't want to lean into his ego here.
I think he asked because he knows the answer and he just wants you to confirm it in front of a live audience.
Does he though? Does he? Fine, Thorin, have what you want. It's you. You're my favorite.
I'm sure that's exactly what he was wanting. Okay. Next question we have here from Cap. Cap asks, in your time with the VEF, what is the most proud memory that has always stuck with you?
Well, it's seeing everyone working together. Really, I did encounter some very big patrols in the happenings of this server, and we've on some of these patrols we've reached up to about 20 people in one patrol. It was massive, and the communication was still just top notch. Everyone knew what they were doing. Everyone was everywhere. It was amazing. These guys are great.
Awesome. I'm gonna see if I can run to my chair and fucking end this without having too many problems. Everyone, please bear with me. I'm gonna do this ridiculously fast. Here we go. All right, I'm a cheat. Hey, we're live, guys. Okay, this is what we do here. All right, and that will do it for us today. I'd like to thank our special. Oh no, we have another question from Green Jake. Green Jake asks, what's your favorite in-game Fallout event?
Oh, there's lots to choose from there. I've got to say, I'll go with the classic. I've got to go Scorched Earth. Why not?
Scorched Earth.
Gotta love murdering a queen over and over again.
Scorched Earth it is, right? You can never go wrong with that. And then it looks like we had one more question. Someone said that they asked a question, but I'm not seeing it here. Can you write in your question, Slayer Jags? Not seeing it here. And no one likes dead air, so I'm going to keep talking. You have 10 seconds to ask a question. Yeah, I got a question for you. What would you say is if that is your favorite in-game Fallout event, have you had any favorite events that Recon has put on?
Well, I hate to be biased, but I'd still say my Into the Shadows one was probably the most in-depth one we've gone yet. So yeah, I'd go with that one.
Awesome. And then last question from Slayer Jags. He says, I see you're from Cerberus. What's Cerberus all about?
Well, it's one big family. These guys have accepted me from after I transferred over from another battalion after a few difficulties. They welcome me with open arms. These guys have been non-stop friendly. These guys are all just one massive family. These guys are amazing. I love them. Paladin Jess, massive shout out.
That is awesome. Okay, and I think that is all the questions that we have for today. And so with that said, there we go. And make an adjustment. Okay, that'll do it for us today. I'd like to thank our special guest, Machina, for coming in today. Also, Machina, I wanted to reward you officially with a game show neon sign to show that you've been the best in the wasteland. The best there is. And so, with that said, thank you, listeners, for tuning in to our Best There Is show. We're gonna where we bring. Sorry, I'm gonna try that again. Thank you to our listeners for tuning in to the Best There Is, where we bring in guests from all over the wasteland, so you don't have to. I'm Demon Caramel, the Best There Is. We'll catch you later. Thank you so much, guys.